Yeah. So I'm never. I was almost crying. That's how bad it was.
Jerry always has to put lidocaine on first.
Huh? Oh, good. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
Until Elisha gets here to read his.
sell frames and stuff, so, which really spoiled it. But I never saw these. This is great. Ben?
First thing when my daughters saw them, oh, Dad.
Oh, yes, I'm sure, yes. See, at least in
No,
my
I really
case,
can see where that would be a very good thing to have.
my kids were not that fun because I was the
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for braving the cold and coming out. We appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who's on live stream with us. We will begin tonight's service with on the top of page 192 with Matovu. Cookie will lead us.
192, huh? Matovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Now, if you turn back to page 126, we will try to do this responsibly. The new prayer book doesn't really separate the paragraphs like we're accustomed to, so we'll probably do about 4 sentences at a time. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them.
Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love.
As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better.
To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it.
We'll continue our Kabbalat service in the middle of page 128 with Yedi Nefesh. Yedi
Nefesh HaRachaman, Yedi Nefesh HaRachaman, Meshofavdecha, El Retzonecha, Meshofavdecha, Ya la 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 la, El Retzonecha. Yarus Avdecha, Kemo Ayav, Yishtachave Ya la 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 la, El Muhadarecha.
And now on the top of page 130, we'll do Lechuna Ranana.
Lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, ladonai. Lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, ladonai. Naria, naria, l'tzur yishenu, nikadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, l'tzur yishenu, bizmi rot naria lo. Lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, ladonai. Lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, lechuna ranana, ladonai.
Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai, raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. On page 131, 6 lines from the bottom. Yismachu.
Yismachu Hashamayim, Yismachu Hashamayim, Yismachu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz, Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Umalo, Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Yiram Hayam, Umalo.
Now on page 132, 4 lines from the bottom,
Or Zarua, La Sadiq, U Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua, La Sadiq, U Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua, La Sadiq, U Yisrael Simcha. U Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua, La Sadiq, U Yisrael Simcha. U Yisrael Simcha.
Turn now to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. We'll sing the first 2 verses on page 138 and the last 2 verses on page 139. Before the last verse, you'll rise and face the entrance to the sanctuary. Which we doing?
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmiyanu eham yuchad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'liti la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela, lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi makor habracha, me'rosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techi la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela, lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela. Yaminu smol tifrotzi, v'et Adonai tariti, al yad ishpein parti, v'nishmacha v'nagi la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela, lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela.
Please rise if you're able.
Bo'vi v'shalom materet bala, gam b'simcha u'b'sola, tov emunei am segula, bo'vi chala, la 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela, lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, panei panei Shabbat nekabela.
You may be seated. bottom of page 140. We'll read that responsively. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp and voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand it. The righteous blooms like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they will still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is right. It's really difficult to get used to the way this book is printed because it's really not broken out well as far as responsive reading.
Not at all.
So we either have to, we'll figure it out, but we'll have to go, I think, the way it's written and just wait for the breaks and the way it's printed is my guess. I don't know. Top of 140 for Mizmor Shir.
Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov Lehadod L'Adonai Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Lehagid Baboker Chastecha Va'emunatecha Balelot Alei Asor V'alei Novel Alei Higayon Bechinor Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat Tov Lehadod L'Adonai Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon.
Well, tonight we have something very special. We have our two B'nai Mitzvah coming up very soon, Elijah, but first is Chloe, right? Chloe's coming up just in a couple of weeks. And I'd like to invite them both up to the Bima where they'll do an English reading for us on page 145. So first, Elijah will read, Teach Me, and this we will do responsively because there are two paragraphs. So
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways.
now Chloe will read for us on the bottom, Entrances to Holiness.
Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence.
Thank you. We look forward to your special days coming up very quickly. I can tell they're so excited. But we are. We really are.
We are.
Okay, and we're very fortunate we have a minion tonight, so we can continue on page 146 with the Baruch Hu. Please rise if you are able.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamivorach.
be seated. We will continue now on page 148. And we will try to read this responsively in the middle of page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night,
rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other.
Okay, I'm trying to remember where we're stopping here. Adonai Tzavaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai ha'maravi ha'ravim. Page 158, Cookie will lead us in Havat Olam.
150. No, it's 150. It's on 150. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah Mitzvot Chukim Mishpatim Otanu Lemadata Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu V'shachreinu v'kumeinu Nosiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yomeinu Uvahem neged yomam v'layla V'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu li'olomim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Page 152, yes, 152 to 153. If you're able to stand, and if that's your custom, you may do so now.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha,
Page
v'chol
154.
nafshecha, v'chol meodecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shiftecha b'veitecha, uv'leftecha v'derech, uv'shachpacha uv'kumecha, uv'kshatam liot al yedecha, v'hoyu l'tatafo b'neinecha, uv'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha.
Okay, we're going to keep trying this until we get this right. So if we'll go to page 155, and let me suggest that we read responsively each complete sentence. So we'll read to the end where we get to a period, and we'll alternate that way.
Got it.
Think that'll work? We're going to try this. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act.
Keep in mind the words I command you today.
Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested.
Let them be the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision.
Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate.
They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God.
I am Adonai, your God.
I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
By George, I think we've got it. That's the problem with the new prayer book. It takes a while to get used to it, I think. I hope not. Now, I'm going to try it again. The bottom of page 157, this is easier. In a world, page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive foes.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did,
Singing on the shores of the sea.
Yay. Page 158, Nichamoka.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamo chaba elim adonai mi chamo chanedar kodesh norata hilot o sefele norata hilot o sefele malchutecha ra'u vanecha boker yom lifnei Moshe ve'elianu v'yameru Adonai yimloch le'olam bo'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam bo'ed la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la la.
And now on page 160, we're reminded that when we go to sleep at night, we hope and pray that God watches over us when we're the most vulnerable. So let us read, Grant, O God, and we'll do it again by period. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and rise up, our guardian, to life renewed.
Spread over us the shelter of your peace.
Guide us with your good counsel for your name's sake. Be our help.
Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings.
Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow.
Distance of wrongdoing.
For you, God, watch over us and deliver us.
For you, God, are gracious and merciful.
Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore.
Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us and over Jerusalem.
We'll turn to the top of page 162 for Vishamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam Veshamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat Ledoratam Berit Olam Beini Uvein B'nai Yisrael Oti Leolam Oti Leolam Veshamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasod et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Ki Sheshet Yomim Asa Adonai et HaShamayim V'et HaAretz V'shamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledoratam Berit Olam Uvayom HaShvi'i Shabbat Vayinafash Shabbat Vayinafash Shabbat Vayinafash V'shamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledoratam Berit Olam.
On page 163, Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, "We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time." And now page 166, the silent Amidah. You may rise if you're able, and we will conclude on page 180. Yes. 180.
Page 178. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people forever. For you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace.
I can hear you, Leah. I love it.
Beautiful. Page 180, in loving memory of Sherwin Rubin, who's recently passed. Let's read together. The second paragraph. My God, grant my speech.
My God, grant my speech from evil and my lips from
deception. Before those
who slander me. I will hold my tongue. I will practice humility. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. As for all who think evil of me, cancel their designs and frustrate their schemes. Act for your own sake, for the sake of your power, for the sake of your holiness, for the sake of your Torah, so that your loved ones may be rescued. Save with your power and answer me.
You know, we're reminded that one of the most egregious sins that could have been committed was the sin of Lashon Hara, or evil speech. So much so that Moses' sister Miriam was struck with Savaot, which was, we call it leprosy, but it wasn't really, because she was speaking ill of Moses' Cushite wife to her brother Aaron, or their brother Aaron. So we know that that's something we should really be mindful of. The words that we speak can never be taken back, are very, very powerful. And this was something that Sherwin always liked to read for us on Friday nights, so we're going to continue that. Now, if you'll turn back in your book, and I don't know why we're doing this out of order, but 122, the Via Hulu, and Martine, would you like to come up and lead us? 122, I've got it here.
They'll get there.
I don't know. However, when I checked my sources, they said because Via Hulu comes in the beginning of the prayer book, that's when we're supposed to do it.
That's what I
So,
would prefer to do.
yes, and then,
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
just going the old way.
I
What can
understand.
I say?
I understand, that's fine. Vayahulu Hashamayim va'aretz Nachol Sevam Ve'Elohai Elohim Bayom Hashvi Malato Asher Asa Vayishbot Bayom Hashvi Mekol Melato Asher Asa Vayarei Elohim et Yom HaShvi'i, V'kadesh ato, Kivo Shabbat mikol melato, Asher bara Elohim laso. And now turn back to 182.
Thank you, Maureen. Thanks so much. Repetition.
Huh?
Want to do the repetition of the Amidah?
Yeah, on 182.
182.
And please rise on 182 for the repetition of the Amidah. If you're able.
The Amidah is actually the core of every Jewish worship service, and it's considered the central prayer. Amidah means standing, and that's why we stand. Now that we want you to have exercise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim ve'oretz, Magen Avod ve'imot berchov, Meitim b'mamarot, Ha'el HaKadosh she'en kamohu, Ha'meniach le'yamo, V'yam Shabbat kodsho, Ki vom ratzah lehaniach lahem, Ki vom ratzah lehaniach lahem, Lefanav no'avod b'irav v'fachad, V'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, Ma'en habrachot El hahodot Adon Hashalom Mekadesh HaShabbat Umberei Shali Umeniach B'Kedusha Le'am Mekdush Neoneg Zecher Lamase Bereshit. You may be seated. And if you look at the page, they've added some things in, like the second line down, it's Ve'imotenu, because we're saying for our forefathers and our mothers. Anyway, and there's some other things added, and of course, I can't remember to add them, but it's okay.
You'll get there eventually.
Probably not.
On page 183, let's read responsibly. Let us praise Adonai, source of knowledge and light, from whom we draw wisdom and insight.
Let us savor the fullness of each and every day and fill our souls with the treasures of Shabbat. And let us appreciate these distinctions, sacred and profane, charity from greed, purpose from fear.
Let us affirm our covenant as God's people. Let us honor those who study Torah. Let us uphold the truth of ongoing revelation.
Let us celebrate the glory of our tradition and draw refreshment from the wellspring of prayer. Let us respect tradition and encourage creative faith.
And let us dress ourselves in the garments of God, compassion for the needy, embrace of the stranger, and then spread the canopy of peace over all the world. This time in our service, we stop to ask God for help for people who are suffering physically, mentally. However, we're asking God to give us the opportunity to take a moment and remember them. So let's turn to page 371 for the Mishabera prayer. And we will sing the first verse, and then we'll add the names of those that we want to remember tonight. I'll read the list and then I'll ask you if there are others that you would like to add to that particular list. So, let us begin by singing the first verse.
Misha Be'era Avotenu Makor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal the people we mention. May the Holy One, blessed be He, filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God heal them soon, body and soul, together with others who suffer illness, and let us say, Amen. This week we are thinking of Cynthia Kern, Juanita Diddy, Joni Campbell, Joseph Atkins, Hy Siegel, Mark Brana, Sarah Nelson, Dodie Sokol, Linda Licker, Terry Fenhoff, Jay Ulrichs, and Jason Kabikoff. Are there other names to be added to this list? Martine?
Cindy Curry and Kathy Swaller.
Michelle?
Valerie Engel.
Pam?
Rivka Chaya, Bob Paya, Tina Harnick, Sheila Furr, and Bill Jackson.
Chloe? Okay. Jeff?
Gail Gibney.
Cookie?
Robert Mason.
Second verse.
Misha Be'era Imotenu Makor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Now, don't blame me. Cookie said make this extra long so she can sit. In 1956, I was only 8 years old and definitely had never been to a movie theater yet. I know you're all doing the math. Surely I was not aware that Hollywood was about to be presented with the most epic religious drama film up to that time. Produced, directed, and narrated by Cecil B. DeMille and released by Paramount Pictures, this film would be the most expensive film ever made to date. Filmed on location in Egypt, Mount Sinai, and the Sinai Peninsula, The Ten Commandments was DeMille's most successful work, his first widescreen film, his fourth biblical production, and his final directorial work before his death just 3 years later in 1959. It went on to win major accolades and awards, and to this day is attributed to being the eighth most successful film of all time when adjusted for inflation. But for me and my children, it became required viewing prior to the Passover Seder. There's a hole in here. According to Wikipedia, in 1999, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. In June 2008, the American Film Institute revealed its top 10, the best 10 films in 10 American film genres, after polling over 1,500 people from the creative community. The film was listed as the 10th best film in the epic genre. The Ten Commandments has aired annually on U.S. network television in prime time during the Passover Easter season since 1973. Reading the Haggadah and imagining the plagues was never as dramatic as seeing them on the big screen in full Technicolor splendor. We sometimes think we do not know much Torah, but for each of us who has seen the movie, there it is right before our eyes. In this week's Torah portion, Bo, which is the third parsha in Exodus and the 15th of the overall 54 parshiot, we read about the plagues which are descending upon Egypt. The story of the Exodus from Egypt describes much chaos before our freedom was granted. The first 9 plagues had been visited upon Egypt and meant to weaken Pharaoh. It doesn't work. The Egyptians saw water turn into blood, frogs, lice, flies, livestock pestilence, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, and soon the worst one of all, the killing of firstborn children. It is interesting that Pharaoh was also a firstborn, and a good thing that he wasn't killed, otherwise our story would have ended quite differently, or maybe not. In the Parsha, the second triennial section of Bo begins with Moses warning Pharaoh that the last plague will soon be upon Egypt, the slaying of the firstborn. Moses tells Pharaoh that halfway through the night, or midnight, every firstborn son in Egypt will die, from the firstborn child of Pharaoh down to the firstborn of non-Israelite slave women, and also every firstborn animal. But we also learn that the Israelites will be spared. The previous 9 plagues were brought by God's emissaries, Moses and his brother Aaron. But this last plague, the most serious one, was by God's powerful hand. After several failed attempts by Moses to convince Pharaoh to free his people, the final decree is struck. When you see the scene where Pharaoh, wonderfully portrayed by Yul Brynner, is broken and carrying his son's body limp and lifeless, you cannot help but feel sorry for him. For anyone to lose a child, it is gut-wrenching, and I cannot even imagine the pain they would feel. But Pharaoh's stubbornness and unwillingness to yield to Moses' demand to let his people go is on Pharaoh. Pharaoh was given many opportunities to submit to Moses' demand. After witnessing the first 9 plagues and brushing them off, the final decree really showed the power of our God over the power of Pharaoh's idols. Yet another blow to him when he calls out to his idols to bring his son's lifeless body back to being, and nothing happens. His idols, his false gods, are useless to him. This is not all that different from the current events in Gaza. While we all feel terrible for the suffering and civilian deaths that are taking place, we need to recognize that this is all on Hamas. Both the Israelites of ancient Egypt and the modern state of Israel have sought a solution that wouldn't end in the needless deaths of children and could have been avoided, but in the end, Hamas did not heed the warnings. I am hoping for God's intervention here, but so far I cannot see it, at least not yet. Rabbi Margaret Frisch Klein is the rabbi of Congregation Knesset Israel in Elgin, Illinois, and blogs as the Energizer Rabbi. She mentions an interesting question when she blogged this titled, "One Crime for Another." Quote, "Next, in connection with today's Parsha, how do we rationalize the killing of the innocent newborn Egyptians as retaliation for the past wrongs of Pharaoh and the court? There really are awesome moral, theological, and intellectual dilemmas presented within today's Parsha. Obviously, there are no sins committed by those Egyptian babies to justify the punishment of death, and even Pharaoh should be given some slack, particularly when it was our God who hardened his heart during the final 4 plagues preceding the murder of the newborn. Moreover, neither God nor Moses warned Pharaoh or the Egyptians about this final calamity. This gruesome infanticide is a heavy price for the liberation of our people. but I can only leave you with the question of what heinous crime justifies another. In the biblical history, we have seen God's actual or threatened vengeance in the stories of the plagues, the golden calf, and Noah's flood. Now, in our lifetimes, given the worldwide atrocities of recent years and the bombing of Hiroshima and then Nagasaki, it is a question we and our leaders should pose daily." End quote. There have been many atrocities against innocent people since then. I suppose it is easy to just say that our actions have consequences or the end justifies the means, but I also wonder how far we should go. I am grateful to Cecil B. DeMille, who was an avowed Episcopalian of half-Jewish descent, that he made this remarkable film. His mother, Beatrice Samuels, was Jewish, but converted to the Episcopal faith before she married DeMille's father. Perhaps this connection to his mother's faith had a part in his desire to make this film. Regardless, I am happy that he did. The film is a testament to the Jewish people and the rest of the world that the Jews deserved to be free. Under the cruel Pharaoh's rule, they were enslaved and treated harshly. No people deserve that. Neither plagues nor the ignorance that prevails all over the world will keep us from survival. We repeat in the Haggadah that it is incumbent upon the parents to tell the children the story of our freedom. Many times in the Torah and in our Sidurim, our prayer books, we are reminded about what the Lord did for us. The drama of exile and exodus and freedom is the most important reminder of who we are, a people who are charged by God to remember what was done for us. This is our epic story, a story that must continue to be told. After all, it is who we are, and when we tell our victorious story to our children, it will make them proud of their heritage and the courage it took for future generations to be free. And that's a gift we can give to them. Thank you, Mr. DeMille, for your gift to us, this extraordinary film that brought vivid images to life of our struggle and our success. It will continue to be required viewing for my family as we look forward to Passover and reliving the extraordinary victory of our freedom. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
For sure. That was awesome, Janet.
Now if you'll turn to page 586 for the Elena.
Please rise if you're able. Page 586. Thank you. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gedula liotzer b'reishit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzon, v'lo samanu kamishpachot adoma, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol amonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
588.
588. She'unat hashamayim v'yosei la'aretz u'moshav yikarov hashamayim mima'al Ushkina tuzo, negove meromim. U Eloheinu Einod, emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatu betorato, v'yadayom v'ashevota, Elovecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, v'shamayim mima'al.
page 590. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al-koretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
You may be seated. Maybe that's I saw it. Sorry. I'm looking for it. Oh, okay. Before we do Kaddish, Alden Solovey is one of our favorite liturgists. He writes amazing work, and he recently wrote this, I wouldn't say poem, I guess, just
Prayer.
possibly prayer. It's called Shattered Horizon. The horizon shattered like glass when we were forced deep into the tunnels, kidnapped from our future, ripped away from light and life by the hand of evil. We are children, mothers, sons, brothers, sisters, babies, fathers. Humanity held prisoner, humanity denied, stolen from our homes, stolen from our lives, held captive by villainy. The horizon shattered like glass when malice descended upon us, scattering shards of hope into the void. We will set free the captives. We will rebuild the horizon. We will make this people whole again.
I'm not sure, but I think Alden Solovey was a member of Beth Israel, and does anybody know?
No, but he had a connection
To something with the synagogue in Colleyville.
I'll have to look that up.
Tonight, we remember the following Yortzites. Naomi Pincus Fisher, mother-in-law of Ellen Pincus. Arthur Paderewski, grandfather of Linda Elsenbaumer. Morris Leffer, father of Harvey Leffer. Neil Willicke, father of Linda Friedenson Feinberg. Louis Dickman, father of Michael Dickman. Skippy Reynolds, brother of Debbie Goldsmith. Ben Rubin, father of Sherwin Rubin of blessed memory. Alfred Cabrero, father of Stephen Cabrero. Gertie Strasberg, grandmother of Linda Friedenson Feinberg. Renee Romano, mother of Janet Aronson. Jack Kirschbaum, father of Ruth Friedman. Ivan Goldfarb, father of Barry Goldfarb. Rose Billy Schneidkraut, I'm not pronouncing that right, but grandmother of Sarai Stewart. Jean Mandelkorn, mother of Joel Mandelkorn. Lenora Friedman, mother of Lori Cole. And Beatrice Cohn, mother of Robert Cohn. Are there any others that we are to remember tonight? If it's your custom to say the memorial prayer with those observing, please rise. And on page 598. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah. V'yamah divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. B'gala uv'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach li'olam u'lamei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha barihu. La'elam in kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbachato v'nechamato, Damiron v'yoma v'yimru, Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, V'chayim Olenu v'yal Kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mamav, Uyaseh Shalom, Olenu v'yal Kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen.
You may
May be seated.
Announcements. Kathy Freisinger will be giving us the announcements for this coming week.
Thank you, Janet and Cookie, for a very nice service tonight. Thank you to everybody who braved the cold to come out tonight. We have tomorrow services at 10 a.m. led by Stuart. On Sunday is the Tu B'Shvat Seder that begins at 11 o'clock. Friday night, next Friday night, is to borrow from 80s after-school specials, a very special service. It's a musical service that the cantor has been working on for a long time, and we hope to have a lot of people there. And please invite people who are not members of the synagogue to come. We think they may enjoy it. Let's see, and then coming up is Chloe Sudbury's bat mitzvah, and we're all looking forward to that. Thank you.
Now if you'll turn to bottom of 678.
We started doing this a couple weeks ago with everything that's going on in Israel. We'll sing Hatikva, the national anthem of Israel. So if everybody will rise, if you're able, on the bottom part of 678. Kol od baleva panima nefesh Yehudi hamiyah ufate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia. Oh, glow of the tikvatenu, ha-tikva shenot alpayim, leyotam chofshi be'artzenu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Leotam chofshi be'artzenu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. So long as within the inmost heart a Jewish spirit sings, so long as the eye looks eastward, gazing toward Zion, our hope is not lost, the hope of 2,000 years to be a free people in our land, the land of Zion and Jerusalem.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Please join us for the Oneg Shabbat, and we'll do Motzi and Kiddush in the social hall.
Shabbat Shalom.